Okay, got 6 practices in, just finished up with number 6. First one post-spring break. Liked how they were, liked their attitude today, liked their mentality today. You know, yesterday, we always bring them back in Sunday night, have a meeting, feed them, and do a workout on Monday. Got their lift workout just to kind of get them back in the routine of things and, you know, get them involved in school. But liked how we came out there and worked. Had a lot of energy, excitement. Played a lot of ball, so you know, thought we did pretty good. We'll go Thursday, and then we'll try to double up and go 2 this weekend, just because we missed a couple of practices prior to spring break because the weather's been awful. But had, you know, in 6 practices, we've had 5 good opportunities to get out there and practice in cold weather and in wind, and you know, obviously we're going to have to deal with that. So we've used it to our advantage and got some good work in. Look forward to the day that we actually have spring football as opposed to December winter football at some point. You know, we're obviously not preparing for a game. We're trying to get a lot of good reps in, a lot of good quality reps in, you know, a lot of fundamental work, and when the weather gets a little bit better, we'll probably be able to keep their attention a little bit more. So, but you know, overall, I think they're doing a good job. They're doing a good job in you know, the whole off season, just listening to what we're asking them to do, and we got a long ways to go. Can't tell you how much each and every position, each and every unit. I can't tell you how far we need to go, but it's just where you're at in spring. There's a lot of people across the country that are in the same boat that we are. So that's kind of where we're at. I'd open it up to questions and focus on some more specifics.
Overall assessment through 6 practices, then, I mean, are you where you'd like to be? Are there areas where you're still deficient behind you, and areas where you're further along than you thought you'd be at this point?
I don't know where we're at. I don't know how good we're going to be. It's a process, you know, and you know, obviously we got to, with 9 more practices and approximately 19 more days, we got to get a lot better, and then we got to add another 25% of our team to our roster, and we got to go through camp. You know, I mean, nobody knows how good they're going to be from a 2013 win-loss record. I don't know where we're headed. We just try to wake up and we try to get better every day. That's what spring's all about. So, you know, who knows?
As far as the review of Gino, Pro Football Weekly, have you been able to read it? Your thoughts on that, and some of the criticism that was kind of leveled against him in that?
I don't read Pro Football Weekly, but it was brought to my attention that a couple people wanted me to comment on it. And I don't comment on stuff like that. You know, you guys know how I feel about Gino, and you know, excited to go to New York. I mean, you don't get invited to New York for the NFL draft if you have issues. I think that's pretty safe to say. So excited to be up there with him during that process, and he'll be a great pro, and he'll play for a long time.
How are things progressing at the center position? You like what you're seeing out of those guys?
Better. You know, Coach Madsen was around for a couple of days, and you know, had kind of worked with Pat a little bit with his snaps, which have drastically improved. We had you know, there was only probably 25% of the snaps in the first couple of days that were even fieldable. I mean, it was not good. What do you expect? You're moving 2 guys to center that have never played center, so have really improved. Both Pat and Orlowski, both they're doing some good things. I mean, they've got to go against Shaq and Christian, who are both 2 very big, capable bodies to play defensive nose tackle. So they got their work cut out for them. But yeah, pleased with where it's at. Pat went down with an ankle injury. I don't know the severity of it, so he didn't finish practice today. He's coming off that ankle surgery. You know, that kept him out for 6 weeks of our first 8 weeks of off-season conditioning. So Pat was starting to get back into the swing of things, and he went down. I hope it's not serious at all. We did have one injury that I report, which is a surgery situation in Adam Pankey, which was incredibly disappointing to see coming off his redshirt year. He's got so much upside. He was showing more improvement than any offensive lineman that we had. Big 6'5", 315-pound guy that was moving phenomenally. Had knee surgery, ACL, so he'll be out. He'll be out until they won't release him until probably September, October. So, you know, that's going to cut into his redshirt freshman year. And one other side note from a program standpoint is Corey Harris has been suspended indefinitely for the rest of the semester.
Egger's ankle, is it the same ankle that he had the surgery on?
I believe it is. That doesn't mean it's that doesn't mean it has anything. I don't know. Our doctors don't know yet. It just happens. So I do believe it is the same ankle. You know, which he had he had his ankle cleaned up and was back in 6 weeks. So hopefully it's not any worse than that.
And I believe Underwood was a guy that people had talked about that he might come in. With the importance of that position, you got two guys that are going there now. Is it definitely theirs, or is that something where he could come in the summer and if he's good enough? I'm guessing I'm saying you don't want to put this time to poor use. I mean, if one of these guys does that, so you go with him in the fall, or can Underwood come in and they can push it?
You know, it's recruiting, which means, you know, we try to make the best decisions that we possibly can, but you really don't know what you're going to get until they're here practicing. So we thought enough about Stone to recruit him as a center. We knew we were thin at that position. We had no returning center coming back. You know, the three guys that snapped the ball in the fall are all three gone. So, you know, you got to have 2-3 centers on your team. It's like the quarterback position. If you don't have 2 or 3, if you have 2, you get nervous. So you really need to have 3 guys that can snap anyway. So, you know, we're trying to develop 2 guys we felt good about, add him to the equation, let them all 3 compete in the fall, and you know, make a decision on who's 1, 2, and 3.
Is it easier to set the rest of the offensive line once you have a center in place?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, that's the quarterback of the group for sure, but you better have some guys that can protect the edge as well. You know, I mean, all 5 positions are important. Offensive line's the most important position on your team. I've said it for years, so you got to get a bunch of good, capable guys. Just based on graduation, that's where all our issues are right now. You got Spain and Fight back that are both playing good. Kindler's a guy that's pushing for a starting job, being a senior. He's smart. He's you know, played ball. He's been here. He's wanting to get in the starting rotation. So I feel like we got 3 guys, you know, at tackle that we'll get by with. It's the inside people that are all new. Glowinski's doing good. He redshirted. He's moving around good. He's got an attitude. He's strong. He's flexible. He's mobile. Marquise Lucas is moving better than he ever has. So, you know, those are guys that have been doing okay. Again, Pankey was one of those guards that may have been the best one.
What stood out for you defensively so far? I mean, with Coach Patterson getting this time, getting these 6 practices to get everything installed and moving, what's been the bright spot, or how's that all going?
Well, I've always loved what he's done defensively. I mean, that's the reason I hired him from a scheme standpoint. You know, there was a couple of different philosophies there last year that now, you know, obviously there's one voice, there's one scheme, and it's what we want to do. So the continuity of the staff and what we're doing schematically and everybody being on the same page, you see a lot of people that are in position to make plays. You know, that and the 10, 12 freshmen that we played with last year are older and they're a little bigger, faster, and stronger, and they're a little bit more game ready.
And when you look back on last year, what did you learn from last year, and how have you approached it in this way to change it?
That we're not a whole lot different than the rest of the people in the Big 12. I mean, you know, there's 9 bowl teams in the Big 12. 7 of them were 7 and 5. So the reality of the situation is you know, we're in a conference that has a whole lot of parity, and that, you know, you better everybody needs to understand that, you know. And what I mean by everybody is all the coaches, you know, going through it. Our players are going to understand it a little bit more. You know, we have to be incredibly comfortable with all three of our schemes, which we are, and we got to coach them at a high level, and we got to demand that our team, you know, buys into what we're saying, and you know, we have a program full of guys that, you know, are ready to step up and play when they're ready to step up and play. So, you know, I like our staff right now. I like our staff cohesion. I like what we're doing on all three sides. I like the fact that the players are buying in. It doesn't mean we're going to win any games. It means, you know, everybody needs to understand what the challenges are and not take anything for granted.
When you were talking about hiring J1 before, you mentioned even a guy in South Florida, right? Lonnie does really well in Georgia. Was that an area you were looking to get into? Did that, I don't know, tip the scale in his favor at all? Was that just an area you guys are interested in, or was that just something because you have him, that's where you can go now?
Well, you know, in hiring guys, I think you can tell the guys that I've hired, it's a combination of, you know, wanting to be in West Virginia. You know, that you can get a better quality coach because people want to live here. You know, a lot of guys that have ties to here want to come back. They'll leave good jobs to come back to West Virginia because it's a great place to live. And, you know, I think probably a little bit even more so when you've either lived here or your spouse has lived here. From a family situation, raising kids here is great. Slash being the best fit from a position coach, slash being a great recruiter. You know, so you take all three of those things and you know, you come up with the best guy to hire. And I think we accomplished that with all five of these hires. So, you know, from a recruiting standpoint, you know, it's an added bonus that J1's really good in recruiting South Florida. You know, so because he met all three of the criteria that I was looking for. Same with Lonnie. You know, same with Lonnie. He's a great receiver coach, and you know, they love it here. You know, and the fact that I've seen him recruit South Florida, I've seen him recruit Baltimore, and I've seen him recruit the Georgia, North Carolina area. So he can go up and down the East Coast, but you can't do it all. You can't go from Baltimore to South Florida. So I needed another guy that could help him do that.
Dana, can you talk about Dreamius and Wendell and how they're pushing Bowie and Garrison? Have you been able to see some of that competition going forward?
It's just nice to have four good, capable bodies. It's the first time since I've been here that we have four good, capable bodies. You know, and they're all a little bit different. So it's going to take a lot of time before we can, you know, develop any kind of depth chart whatsoever. There's no sense in a depth chart right now. With 9 more practices, we're going to continue to find out what each and every one of them do well. So, but you know, they all bring something different to the table. You know, Dreamius is a power runner that's got good open field speed, hits it quick, tough. You know, Wendell's a quick-footed slasher. You know, that when and he doesn't see it, he's young, and he hasn't played a whole lot of football, so he's not as seasoned as the rest of them at hitting the hole the way he will once he actually sees it. But once he does see it, he can get through there pretty quick. He's got good speed. He's going to be a big kid. So that's going to be a fun battle to watch. You know, and as we know, you're going to end up using them all in one way or another.
Was there anything different between today's practice and the last practice before break as far as you guys moving, I don't know, players up and down, doing things different, whether it's adding or thinning out?
The last practice
Before break? Yeah, like a week to think about stuff,
same
think
one.
about.
Identical.
Yeah.
Identical. Well, you know, we go through the script 3 times, you know, really both offensively and defensively, assess where we're at, and then go through it again, add situations, add more situations as we get going through camp. But coming back, we're gonna have to repeat everything and, you know, freshen up on it before we actually, you know, put in a good bit of situations and start scrimmaging. I wouldn't anticipate a scrimmage probably until, you know, maybe 1 or 2 of the final 5 practices. If we scrim, it wouldn't look very good if we scrimmage right now. It's more fundamentals, teaching, learning how to line up, learning how to execute plays. That comes with more snaps.
Whose stock has risen? I mean, I know it's early and you haven't had a ton of time to look at him, but who has impressed you so far, and who are some guys who maybe showed you something you weren't expecting so far?
The guys defensively that stand out is Cook and Joseph. Those guys, you know, obviously are returning starters. They played a bunch. They have a lot of ability. Cook looks totally different than he did a year ago. Like what we're seeing out of him. Carl Joseph's, you know, you guys have seen him, but he's had a great offseason. He's bigger, he's faster, he's stronger, he's more comfortable in the system. Those guys look good. Isaiah Bruce and Kwiatkowski both look good, so the middle stuff looks good. Will Clark had a good day today. You guys saw the Oklahoma stuff. He was dominating in that drill. We couldn't block him, and you know, Shaq's just a big dude that's going to take on 2-3 blockers and hold his gaps. And from a leadership standpoint, real pleased with what he's doing. You know, offensively, we're so inexperienced. You know, I don't know where to start. You know, we've got a bunch of guys that will make a play and then make a mistake.
When you say Cook's a lot different than he was last year, what are the changes you've seen out of him from then to now?
Just a commitment level and leadership level, and he's far from having things figured out, but he's not limping around, and he's not making excuses, and he's in better shape. He took off season more serious. You know, he's a lot of the guys' lights turn on when they become seniors as well. So you know, so far so good. Don't print too many good things about him, because then you think he's got things figured out, which he's far from that.
You mentioned the Oklahoma drill. Can you just kind of describe the intensity and the one-on-one battles that go on in there? And the guys really obviously get after it in that drill. I mean, how much do you guys take away from that when you watch the film of that drill, and how much do the players realize they're being watched in that?
Well, it is what it is. It's one-on-one. You know, when it's 11 on 11, you know, your eyes are everywhere. Even with film, you got to rewind it 10 times before you see everybody. So it's just an intensity level that you know. And again, you're coming off of break, so they're fresh and they're energized. And you guys had cameras on them and all that stuff. So I thought the energy was good, and that carried on throughout the whole practice too. So I was excited about that. And we're going to have to get out there with effort and enthusiasm for 9 more days in order to close spring out the way we want to close spring out. And we move on to the next phase, which is voluntary, you know, basically voluntary weight room workouts for a couple of months prior to camp.
And going back to the question I asked earlier about last year and what you learned from it, I mean, obviously, how did it affect you personally, especially the defensive aspect of it? You've been an offensive coach your, you know, pretty much your whole career. How did that enlighten you, maybe, or whatever?
Well, it's hard to play defense in the Big 12.
It is,
right? I mean, it's you know, it's hard to win. It's a good conference. I mean, I'm not making excuses. I mean, you know, there's a lot of games, but in particular, you know, 2 of them that we should have won. You know, but it's hard to win. College football is very competitive. The Big 12 is very competitive. You must pay attention to detail on all 3 sides of the ball. You must have a group of guys that are going to play and act discipline, you know, not only on the football field but in life in general. You know, because you're going up against a bunch of people that are good teams and well coached and good facilities and winning traditions and all that stuff. So what are you going to do a little bit different and a little bit extra in order to be able to win? Because it's hard to win. So you know, defensively, same thing as offensively. I mean, it's, you know, you got to pay attention, and you got to get better every day. Can't think you ever have things figured out.
Okay, thanks, Coach.
Yeah, right.